This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Promoter Frank Warren. Just a week and a bit now to go till a huge rematch in the UK between Lyndon Arthur and Anthony Yarde. Let's start off with, though, a fight on the undercard. I haven't spoke to you since it's been announced. Hamza Shiraz v Bradley Skeek. Talk to me about that one, Frank.
Yeah, it's a good fight, that. It's going to be quite an interesting fight to see how far Hamza's got to. You know, Bradley, as we know, can be a very awkward customer. I mean, he was with us for a long, long time. We promoted his career and got him a number of good high-profile fights. But I think it's a good fight for Hamza. I think it's a tough fight for him. But if he's what we think he is, then he should be in this. You know, be showing that he can deal with the likes of Bradley. But we will see. We will see, because Bradley's not coming to roll over. That's for sure.
Yeah, it should be a really good fight on the undercard. And also Dennis McCann back out in action on the Copper Box show on December 4th. So always good to see him out.
Yeah, it's a good card. There's some good fights on there, and the ticket's going extremely well. Be a good atmosphere. So fingers crossed we should get a good evening's boxing there.
Definitely. And of course, with the main event, it feels like this is one of the biggest fights that we've seen domestically this year, Frank. Is that the feeling that you share as well?
Yeah, it's very highly anticipated. The fact we're going to get a live audience there this time. And I think because of a lot of water's gone under the bridge since the last fight, which I feel will make it a much more interesting and a more competitive fight than it was last time. That's my feeling. But it didn't quite set alight, it didn't quite catch fire last time. But I think this time it will. I think there's a lot at stake for both of them. You know, Lyndon's got that number one spot. Anthony wants to take that over. We've just done a deal which is going to be announced soon for it's imminent for him to announce Callum Johnston's fighting Joe Smith. So the winner of, you know, Lyndon and Anthony could be fighting the winner of that one. You know, I've been talking to Bob Arum about it, so it's quite interesting times.
Yeah, I saw Bob last week, and he kind of let the Callum Johnston, Joe Smith Jr. out as well about January 15th. This is going to be put out in a few hours, Frank. So is it going to be January 15th in the States?
It will be, provided it goes out. Yeah, no problem. I don't want to jump in before they do. Yeah, it will be. That's the date, and we're all looking forward to it. You know, Callum, that's going to be a real good fight. The first 6 rounds of that fight are going to be really interesting.
If it goes
really,
round.
Well, that's what I think. I think these two guys, you know, I think that they'll be throwing bombs from the start. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to go the distance, but I think Callum's got an excellent chance of winning.
Frank, you must be delighted to get Callum his world title shot. Obviously, he's had one before, but he's had to wait a really long time to get this second opportunity. We know he's not a spring chicken as well, Callum. So you must be delighted to get that over the line for him.
Yeah, I'm pleased for him and Joe. You know, he works hard to get it, and I did promise him I'd get him in that position, and that's what we've done, and we've delivered on it. And as I say, and I'm delighted, obviously, as well, that we've got the rematch on between Lyndon and Anthony, and again, the winner of that will get their shot.
Okay, let's talk about December 18th. How's Tommy Fury doing?
Tommy had a little bit of a cold, but hopefully he's going to be okay. You know, and we're up there tomorrow. We're up in Morecambe tomorrow for doing a press thing up there. So hopefully we'll know more. But yeah, he's up for it. He wants to fight. He can't wait for the fight. And I know that obviously from Jake's perspective, he certainly can't wait for the fight.
I know they had a press conference a few weeks ago, but Tommy had to fly home due to some bad news about his mother. What's the news on that front? Is everything okay?
I think that hopefully that's all settled down there, and you know, he's here. The unfortunate thing, you know, he did want to train in the States for the fight. He's been training here, as we've all seen, with Tyson and the team and his dad John. But hopefully she's okay, and she's over the problems that she had.
Yeah, Frank, he's got his dad John Fury, his brother Tyson Fury, Sugar Hill, and Andy Lee all working with him in camp in Morecambe. That's some team, that.
Well, look, the team. I mean, that's your A team, isn't it? He's got the A team with him, so hopefully he'll do the business on the night. He'll certainly get a lot of inspiration from him. There's no way he can, you know, he's going to be nothing but in top condition and nothing but mentally focused and prepared for this.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to the heavyweight division. So I haven't spoke to you since the WBC convention where Dillian Whyte wasn't ordered to fight Tyson Fury. Of course, a lot of people in boxing and the world expected that to happen. What was your reaction when you found out Dillian didn't get that order due to his arbitration case going on behind the scenes?
Well, I think we felt at one stage it was going to be ordered, but then when I was hearing the background to it all, and the WBC, and them having to go to arbitration, it is what it is. But we're not going to be sitting around waiting for the outcome of the arbitration. And Tyson made it very clear he wants to fight late February, early March, and we will make sure by hook or by crook that happens. There's a lot of things to be decided at that arbitration, and that will determine even if they order the fight.
Bob and Tyson have both said recently that since that news broke, that they're happy still to fight Dillian Whyte. If they accept the offer, then that's what they'll do. Have you spoke to Tyson about that?
Yeah, I have, and I'm seeing him tomorrow. As I said, I'm going up there, and we'll make a decision. I mean, in an ideal world, the fight I'd like to see is the unification between him and Usyk. I'd like to see AJ step aside. I don't know whether he's going to do that or not. If he would like to do that, for me, it'd make a lot of sense for him to step aside, because in doing so, he guarantees him a shot at fighting for the 4 belts against the winner. But anyway, we can't sit around waiting for everybody. In the meantime, Tyson, as he said, wants to be out, and we're looking at options. And but he will fight. He will fight around that time, end of February, early March.
Okay, that's good to hear that he'll be out so soon. But in terms of whether it would be in Vegas or in the UK, that's, I guess, up for debate still.
Ideally, it'd be in the UK. Bobsy's promoting America, and I'm the promoter for the rest of the world. So that's what we're doing in the UK. If it makes the most sense, that's where we'd be. But at the end, but the final decision will lie with Tyson. For him to decide what he wants to do.
When I was in Vegas last week, Frank, I caught up with Joe Joyce. He's training out there with Ismail Salas, and he said, I'll get on with Tyson, great. He's a friend of mine, but obviously this is business. And if I can get my shot before Dillian Whyte, I will happily take that. And that's such an easy fight to make between Fury and Joyce, obviously, because of promotional reasons.
Look, it's another option, and it's something, as I say, to sit down and discuss with Tyson. He'll make his decision. Joe, if you remember, I think it was about 18 months ago when one of Joshua's opponents pulled out. He said he'd jump straight in. There's no problem with Joe. He'll fight anyone. I mean, the good thing about him, he doesn't turn anyone down. He is what he is, and he's training hard, as you say, out there. But hope, if we can do it, we would love to do that. But if not, Joe, as will Daniel Dubois, both of them will fight early next year. I was desperate to get them out before the end of the year, but because of all this stuff between the WBC, the WBO, BA, IBF, all up in the air about what was going to happen with the mandatories, we didn't want to jeopardise their respective positions as number ones, both number one in the BO and number one in the BA. But now that's all dealt with, we will get them out.
Let's talk about the WBA for a second. I know there was this ongoing case between Trevor Bryant and Manuel Charr, which was holding up Daniel Dubois' situation. Has that case been resolved yet, to your knowledge?
Well, they put something out a couple of weeks, about a few days ago. What they were talking about. It's a disaster area there. That heavyweight scene is a disaster area. Our guy Daniel's number one. When we made that fight for him against Dinu, that was on the understanding that he would fight. He would be the mandatory, and that's our position. And we agreed terms with Manuel Charr for the fight, to be quite honest. And now we're just waiting for this thing to be sorted out. It's become a little bit messy at their end, but we will see.
When do you think that will be resolved?
Well, they're going to have to resolve it quick, because nobody's going to be sitting around on their backside waiting for it to do it. I mean, it needs to be sorted out, and they need to deal with the promises, the contractual obligations that everybody made. They're going to have to deal with it.
Okay. But in terms of Daniel, what's the latest on him? When's he going to be out?
Daniel will be out, as I say, early in the new year. So I'm sitting down next week with BT, and we'll go through the dates. I've been out of action. I've been to the last couple of shows because I had the terrible stinking flu, so I couldn't go to the last two shows. So I'm out. I'm seeing them next week, and we'll work from there.
Okay, so at the moment, it sounds like we're going to have Tyson Fury, Joe Joyce, and Daniel Dubois all out kind of February, March time next year.
And Zach Parker.
Yeah.
You know, interesting times now. Again, when you look at what's happening with Canelo, he looks like he's going to fight a cruiserweight. Does that mean he's ever going to come back down to super middleweight, or he's settled at light heavy? So Zach's really in a good position. He's ranked #1. So, you know, we're in good shape. And if Canelo's in the light heavyweight division, the outcome of the winner of all these fights hopefully be in the mix there as well for a big fight.
Definitely. Well, I know Daniel Jacobs is right behind Zach Parker. So if that title becomes vacant, the WBO, then it'll be Parker v Jacobs for that world title.
Yeah, no problem making that. Good fight.
Definitely is. Frank, also, we saw at the convention that David Avanesian's been ordered to fight Virgil Ortiz Jr. in a final eliminator for Errol Spence's WBC welterweight title. That is one of the best fights in world boxing. That Ortiz.
That is, I mean, that's got war written all over it, hasn't it? And Ortiz, I think, is having a fight in January, and then they'll have their respective. Then they'll have the fight. So we'll speak with Golden Boy, and we'll get that on. We'll get that sorted out between us. But that's a cracking fight, a really good quality fight.
Yeah, it's a bloodbath, that one.
It's one way to put it.
And then, of course, you know, if David comes out on top, then he's going to be ordered to fight Errol Spence. Again, one of the fights more boxing.
Well, he's in a good, he's in a good position. He's worked hard to get himself in that position, and we worked very hard between the whole team. With Neil Marsh, Son Francis was out of the convention, and everyone worked very hard to get that fight with Ortiz. So that's where we're at. So hopefully he can capitalise on that now.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of the welterweight, so let me just quickly ask you about the weekend's events where we saw Terence Crawford stop Sean Porter. Did you see the fight, Frank?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it in the sort of early hours of the morning. I've got to be honest, it didn't quite catch a light how I expected it to. There was a lot of holding in there, and it got, a couple of times it got messy. Crawford done what he had to do, but I was quite disappointed the way it ended.
Kenny Porter's decision to pull him out?
Well, look, he's his dad, so I get it and I understand that, but he didn't complain about being pulled out, at all. Maybe he just didn't. There was nothing there, and he couldn't move on. But it was quite, it wasn't the ending that I would like to have seen, if you know what I mean. But at least he got out. He got out safely. Yeah. But Terence showed that he's what a great fighter he is.
And then obviously Sean Porter announced his retirement on the same night, and a tremendous career.
Tremendous career. I wonder if he stayed retired, who knows? But he's probably the best thing to do for him.
All right, Frank. Well, a few hours before Crawford Porter, obviously in the UK, there was a Sky show. Obviously, they've had a few now with Boxer. What did you make of the show? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. I mean, obviously they lost a couple of fights off there due to fighters pulling out illness. I think Liam Williams was out. By the way, I don't know why I don't know why he keeps pissing around Eubanks Jr. Come and fight Zach. What a great fight that would be. Fight Zach Parker. There's a great fight. Let's see who's the best out of them two. That'd be a great fight to make. But what did I think of the show? Look, what I've seen it is what it is. Obviously, they're a young team, young guys. Hopefully, they'll build and get better. But and I don't mean it's disparaging, but I'm not seeing anything ultra special in the shows yet that makes me, sort of take a second look at it or continue. I mean, I still think BT is far and above, head and shoulders above anyone's shows in this country.
Okay. Well, obviously, you've got three kind of big networks pushing stuff with Sky. We mentioned there, obviously, DAZN and Matchroom are doing their shows. Have you been watching many of their shows? Obviously, you had Kid Galahad the other weekend, who lost his titles to Kiko Martinez, and obviously they've been doing more stuff in the UK since their deal with Matchroom.
Well, they have, and I think they've lost they've had a few losses over the last few months, haven't they? Galahad got beat. The young girl Savannah got beat.
It was Terry Harper.
Sorry, I apologise. Terry Harper got beat. They've had a few of them beat over the last few shows, and that's boxing. That's cycles. That's what happens in boxing, and that sorts the men out from the boys. Can you now regroup and rebuild. You know, Joshua got beat. The only good thing I think for him is that, that's bad, but the good thing out of it, from the fighter's perspective, hardly anybody see him get beat.
Okay. Any developments on that situation with DAZN and BT, Frank?
No, I mean, look, it is what it is, and I can't be more clear than I've been. We have a contract with BT, not BT Sport, BT, and it is an exclusive contract for their boxing and for their pay-per-view. And even if they did do the sale, it would make no difference to our position. Matchroom would not be able to put any fights on whilst we have a contract during our contractual period. They just couldn't do it. That's a fact. That's how it is. And we're not walking away from our contract, that's for sure. So even if they did buy it, they don't expect to be seeing any Matchroom stuff on there, because legally they just can't do that.
But would DAZN offer you to put your shows that you're doing on BT on their platform?
They can't do nothing other than that, because we have an exclusive deal. They are contractually obliged, BT or anybody who was to buy, if they were to buy BT Sport, they're contractually obliged to broadcast our shows and broadcast any boxing on pay-per-view exclusively with us, unless we give our consent otherwise. Okay.
All right. Well, listen, Frank, good to catch up with you today. Is there anything you'd like to add before we close off?
No. Had a bit of a setback the weekend again at Arsenal. I mean, we looked like we was flying, and then it all fell apart up in Liverpool. I mean, and when I say fell apart, it just completely fell apart in that sort of late first half, second half. I thought we was lucky to get away with 4-0. I mean, the goalkeeper was outstanding. It could have been 6 or 7-0.
Well, at least you haven't had your manager sacked.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody's looking for a manager at the moment, aren't they? Somebody told me they're bringing in Manchester United, some Italian guy called Samuel Allardyce. I don't know if he's coming in on it.
I think I've heard of him before.
Who knows?
Frank Warren, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Look forward to December 4th, obviously Yard Arthur, Shiraz v Skeet and Dennis McCann also on the bill, amongst many others. And we'll speak on Fight Week next week, okay?
Lovely. Thanks so much. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Cheers, Frank.